Good morning. I'm Jeff M. Brown, legal writer with the State Bar of Wisconsin. If you've ever thought about running for the State Bar's Board of Governors, this video is for you. I'm here today with Joseph Cardamone, who represents District 1 on the Board of Governors. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
What are some of the best things about serving on the Board of Governors?
I guess I would say I think that the two things that come immediately to mind in terms of best things are, number one, just getting a much better sense of all the state bar does for its members as well as for the profession as a whole and the state of Wisconsin. I don't know that I don't know that there is a better way to get a sense of the breadth and depth of what the state bar does than being part of the Board of Governors and really getting to see up close and personal, as it were, all the things that it does, from public education to trying to represent the bar in front of the Supreme Court, to working with the legislature on those issues that are important to the bar and the profession. So I think that's the first one. I think the second one is just the opportunity to come in contact with attorneys from across the state and beyond, really, because of the non-resident lawyers, and across all kinds of practices, and just having that opportunity to make those kinds of connections across both the space and, like I say, practice areas that I don't know that you really get another opportunity to do outside of being involved in some kind of a group like this.
Great. Can you talk about how serving on the Board of Governors has benefited your practice?
Sure. I'm currently a government lawyer, so there's been a little bit less direct impact. But when I was in private practice, I certainly had a couple of instances, and I think maybe even once since I've been working for the government, where just, again, knowing somebody in a particular part of the state and or in a particular practice area has been beneficial. I think I probably had stuff referred to me by colleagues, but I know that I reached out once upon a time to somebody up in one of the northern counties, basically only by virtue of the fact that they were also a governor, and I had a casual relationship with them and said, I'm looking for someone who can do X for a friend of a friend of a friend. And it turned out that this particular attorney / governor did exactly that, so was able to help out the individual right off the bat. Again, it's just nice having that sort of a network. And again, I'm not certainly saying that it's going to build a lot of rainmaking, as it were, but certainly just having those people that you can reach out to in a different part of the state or a different practice area to say, hey, can you give me some tips on this? Or do you know somebody who can work on this? Or is there some assistance you can provide?
Great. What would you say to someone who's thinking about throwing his or her hat into the ring for the Board of Governors?
I would strongly encourage it. As I said, first of all, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to get a sense of what the state bar does. And the state bar does a lot. It does a lot for the profession that kind of goes under the radar and maybe not necessarily always known by the rank and file members of the bar, the 24, 25,000 attorneys who aren't necessarily involved in the state bar actively. Number two, I really think that it is a expression of returning something to the profession. Perhaps this is going to sound starry-eyed and idealistic, but I think the profession has given a lot to all of us, and I think there's something to be said for trying to give something back in terms of helping the profession and the organization connect with the public, try and ensure that there's access, try and ensure that the laws from the legislature and the rules from the Supreme Court are serving the best interests of the profession and the public. And finally, and this maybe is perhaps unique to me, but I view it as an extension of the commitment to public service that I already believe that I have as an attorney in the public sector. But certainly, for anyone who has any interest in trying to give something back to something larger, I think this is a wonderful opportunity. You meet some fantastic people who are truly engaging and intelligent and committed about the issues that affect the profession and affect the public in terms of the practice of law. And It's not a terrible time commitment. I mean, this is a situation where a half dozen times a year you meet, typically in Madison, so it's not something that's going to necessarily take up a lot of your time, and I think it is ultimately a pretty easy way to kind of meet all of those goals and objectives.
Great, thank you. Joe Cardamone, Governor, District 1, State Bar Board of Governors. Thanks for the time. If you are interested in running for the Board of Governors, the deadline is March 1. Go to www.wisbar.org and click on the little rectangular State Bar of Wisconsin Elections 2023 banner that appears with two other banners below the large main banner that appears on the top of your page. Joe, thanks again for the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye-bye.